the height of ancient civilization, a conflict would unravel that would shape the course of history for many centuries to come. It is 490 BC, a time when the mighty Achaemenid Empire cast its shadow over the Aegean Sea. Led by the ambitious King Darius I, Darius sought to extend his dominion over the free city-states of Greece, whose essence of democracy and independence threatened the ambitions of the Persian expansionist empire. The Achaemenid invasion force was said to have numbered 25,000 infantry, with an additional 1,000 cavalry. Fortunately for the Greeks, however, the cavalry would have no part to play in the upcoming battle. The Achaemenid force had arrived on mainland Greece and landed on the shores of Marathon, intent on subjugating the Greek city of Athens as punishment for its role in supporting the Ionian revolt against Achaemenid expansion years prior. In response to this aggression, Athens marshaled its own army. Bolstered by reinforcements from the Greek city of Plataea, they marched to confront the invaders. At the head of the Athenian army stood their strategos, or General Miltiades. Miltiades was a leader of unmatched valor and cunning, with his warriors drawn from every corner of Attica. He commanded a force of roughly 11,000 hoplite soldiers, all ready to defend their homeland against the might of the Achaemenid horde. Miltiades, realizing that his Athenian force were heavily outnumbered, sent a plea for aid to Sparta. But due to religious festivals, Spartan forces could not aid until their festival had ended. Besides being outnumbered, there was one other main issue to address. That was the Athenian force consisted entirely of hoplite infantry, whereas their enemy had a varied force of cavalry, archers and infantry, thus furthermore putting the Greeks at a disadvantage. Miltiades and another of the Athenian generals, Callimachus, likely knew this before going into the battle, leaving them to rely on cunning, strategy and tactics if they were to stand any chance at halting the Achaemenid advance upon the plains of Marathon. As the Achaemenid Persians and Greeks stared one another down upon the plains of Marathon, a strange opportunity had opened up for the Greeks. The Persian forces under the command of Datis and Artaphernes had sailed a portion of their army away on ships which just happened to have all of their cavalry on board. Historians often debate why they did this. Some speculate it was to attack the city of Athens, whilst its entire army was occupied at Marathon, which seems likely. The Athenian generals realized that an opportunity had presented itself. They devised a bold strategy to counter the enemy's numerical superiority by deploying their hoplite infantry in a compact formation, which involved overcrowding both of their flanks with much deeper ranks of hoplites, while having a thinner long line of hoplites at the center to match the width of their enemy's formation. In a daring maneuver, the Athenians launched a surprise attack, hoping to exploit their enemy, now that their cavalry was gone. With a mighty roar, the Athenians surged forward, their marching footsteps echoing across the plain like thunder. As the Athenians closed in, they spontaneously broke out into a full-on sprint. A sea of bronze and iron could be heard rattling across the battlefield. Completely outnumbered at the center, the thin lines of Athenian hoplites were being pushed back by the Persian infantry. Though on the flank, it was the far deeper Athenian lines that were pushing back their enemy at a rapid pace. Athenian flanks pushed further and further inwards, isolating the Persian center from the rest of their force. The Persian flanks were overwhelmed. Panic began to spread. Their men soon scattered back to their ships. The Athenian flanks now closed in on the Persian center, which was completely isolated. Surrounded and having endured heavy casualties, the Persian infantry soon broke ranks and fled back to their ships. Many were killed by the Athenians upon fleeing, and with that the heroic victory was almost complete. The Athenians had no time to celebrate their triumph, however, as they had to swiftly hike back to the city of Athens, which still was in danger of being attacked by the rest of the Persian ships, who before the battle had started to sail towards Athens, hoping to quickly capture the city while it was undefended. The Athenians knew that if they had lost the city of Athens to the Persians, then their victory at Marathon would have been for nothing. So they made sure failure was not an option, marching without rest until they had reached the city right as the enemy's ships were on the horizon and preparing to dock. Seeing a much larger Athenian force than what they had anticipated awaiting on the docks of Athens, sent fear into the Persian fleet. They swiftly turned around and sailed off, never to return to Greece for another 10 years. The Battle of Marathon proved to be a turning point in the Greco-Persian wars, marking a stunning triumph for Athenian democracy and valor against all odds. The Athenian hoplites had defied the might of the Achaemenid Empire at its peak, repelling the invaders and safeguarding the future of Greek civilization. In the aftermath of the triumph of Marathon, a lone messenger was dispatched to Athens with news of their victory, running the entire distance from Marathon to the city of Athens, a distance of approximately 26 miles. He delivered the momentous news before collapsing and dying from exhaustion, a feat that would later inspire the modern marathon race, commemorating the courage and sacrifice of those who fought and died at Marathon.